Okay, so now we have reached this stage. We have already laid down the darks, but we haven't blended them yet. So we're going to do that and enhance the darkness of these lines. Now, it's very important to vary the thickness of your lines, to uh, connote, to denote movement, and of course the changing of the form, because we are basically depicting areas here that are occluded. Okay, occluded areas. So these are areas where light cannot really enter anymore, or they are locally dark, just like the eyes here. So the plan is to vary our lines so we can have dynamic lines there. So there's going to be movement and just good artistic depiction of our model, and it's going to help in the dimensionality and how 3D our subject will be. So let's continue. Okay, so before proceeding to the next phase, this is the process for the mouth and nose. I've put up the reference so you can see where these dark lines are taken from. Corners of the mouth there, the sides of the mouth of the lips, where it contacts with the palm of your hands. You can see there from the reference, obviously. Most people don't see the value of this really. Not many even talk about it, as far as I know. But this is very important to know and to realize that this exists and must be taken into consideration, to create a better rendering in our work. Anyway, here we start blending with our blenders. You can, of course, use paper stumps like this, or felt blenders like this, or inkless markers for finer tips. This inkless marker technology has been around since I was a young boy. I'd say probably 30 years maybe. It's a smart tool, but the artists I know tell me they don't use this tool anymore. Anyway, here you can see that I've just layered more charcoal and then blending it more. So you can do that with your art, of course, to deepen the shade, to get the proper shade. And just blend out the excess charcoal from your inkless marker or stump, to create those gradients. Basically, the point here is to enhance and keep on darkening the darks in our portrait, just to achieve the darkest dark that we can achieve. Just keep layering until the right darkness is achieved, keeping in mind that not all lines have the same darkness value. As for the mouth, the corners always have these dark values, especially when half open or open like this. For teeth, it's easier to first notice the shape of the whole set of teeth, the division between the upper and lower teeth, before drawing the individual teeth themselves, the division of each individual teeth. So that's going to help you when you notice the larger mass of teeth, the sets first, before drawing the individual teeth. Of course, we are going to make adjustments to everything we're doing here. But every step we've taken so far is helping us build up to a better drawing later on. Every step is a setup for the next steps, making them more manageable and giving us more control. We divide the process so that we have manageable faces, so we don't get swamped and overloaded. We can control things. Well, if, for example, we make a mistake here, this face, we can lighten certain lines, etc. So it's much more manageable than having all things painted already or drawn, then having to erase certain parts, which will create problems for us, complications that are harder to manage than having this process. Now, if you've noticed, our lines are not strictly limited to one dark value. I've also sneaked in gradients like this here. As you can see, I'm grading it out. That's because this is not a strict rule but a process, to help us. So if we can, if we are comfortable enough to extend those shades, then that's fine. Now here I'm using a custom foam brush that I made, and here an inkless Japanese brush to create these very thin lines here. The difference between brush and pencil is of course the quality of the line. The pencil is grainy while the brush has a fuller coverage. I'm starting to shade in the neck area here and the shades of the hands. Here I'm using a makeup sponge as a brush. So as you can see, I'm using the edge here to create lines. When preparing your sponge for this use, it's better to load your sponge first and then use it on a piece of paper other than your work, so that charcoal will be inside those sponge holes. Of course, we're going to use charcoal powder from shavings or your purchased charcoal powder. The way to use it is just like using a brush. When painting, you don't rub it back and forth. Just one directional stroke and then lift it up again, then do another one directional stroke. Doing it over and over like this will create a little bit of noise, but if that's the effect that you want, then that's fine. The same when using the stump or felt tips. When using them, using light pressure is the way to go. It's so much better, and to avoid damaging our paper, of course. If you want darker values, then we'll just have to pick up more of our powder and just lightly apply it, so we can spread it. Of course, we use too much pressure, then we either damage our paper or close the pores of the paper, or we will create blotches that are undesirable. Light pressure is always the best because it gives us the opportunity to blend them and refine them later on, or to create balance. So we are at this stage now. As you can see, we have created the dark areas here, okay, here, and of course the occluded areas, the eyes, partially the hair here. So you're using from black, the darkest that we can. And we also use a little bit lighter gray, but it's in that range, okay, 9, 8 range. So we're just focusing on the dark areas now. So I've added a little bit of the preliminaries here just to mark out the shadow areas, but as you can see, the values are still the same, so it looks kind of weird. So later on, like for example here, this seems really dark right now, but once we fix the values here, that might be a correct value. So we'll just have to jump around the picture as we complete this. Okay, so for now, this is our stage. This is where we at right now. We'll keep moving.